There were several exciting findings that came out of the T3 study this year, and I'm joined by the Hemingway of financial journalism, Bob Veras. Bob, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, we're hot off the presses from the T3 event and the survey. So what stood out to you this year?
Well, there were any number of surprises, if you will, but, here I am at the Advyzon conference, and I have to tell you, the most interesting thing about the survey every year is who emerges and gets market share, but more importantly, who gets the user ratings. And I may do an apology later on today to the Advyzon people, but when Advyzon first came out, they were an all-in-one platform, and the all-in-one platforms did not have a felicitous track record, so to speak. They were like a crappy CRM, and you put that in with a crappy asset management, and then something that barely operated as a portfolio management system, but they're all tied together. That was the idea. And, crappy didn't seem to be the value proposition, especially when everybody else was tying together. And so, Advyzon comes along and, all right, I'll wait until you get, good ratings in CRM and portfolio management. And they actually got the highest ratings in all three categories. And so, it's hard to say you're wrong. Guys don't say they were wrong. They don't apologize more than like 2 or 3 times in their lives. But this was a pretty dramatic difference. The best of breed was actually incorporated in an all-in-one platform. And I have to say, I'm here at the conference and I'm talking to people and people are coming up to me. And the really interesting thing about the people that are here at the Advyzon conference is they're all people who are willing to make changes and adapt. And that's a little bit rare in human society, and it's extremely rare in the advisor profession. So the idea of inertia, which has been my ancient enemy for as long as I've been doing this, seems to have been banished, at least for one conference, and I'm really happy to see that.
Okay, so pleasantly surprised then.
Yeah,
Okay.
or astonished, one or the other.
Or astonished. Well, it's very encouraging to see because, as you said, our industry has notoriously lagged behind in adoption, and it's not really cutting edge if you're not using it. And so it's great to see that folks, the room was packed out for the demos and folks being able to actually sit down with the Advyzon team and dive into the platform. And that's what you want to see from your advisors, that they're willing to actually read the instruction manual on the technology they're using.
Or change, make a change. Yeah,
absolutely. And so, obviously this is Advyzon's inaugural event. We've been to how many over our years? What have you enjoyed most about this event in particular?
Really the attendees. I always gravitate to the attendees and try and figure out who they are. And sometimes I go to these conferences and I have a bunch of raving fans. I don't have a lot of raving fans here. I just have a lot of interesting interactions with people who, they've heard of me, but really what the conversation was not, gee, Bob, you're my hero. It is, here's what I'm doing and here's what I'm thinking and what do you think about this or that? And that's way more interesting than, going to a conference where it's a kind of a dull, the conversations aren't really about who you are and what you do and what you're doing. They tend to be more about, the weather or something,
Yes, the superficial stuff, yeah.
Plus it's a nice facility and the weather's okay. If ranging from 60 to 75 is outside my comfort zone, but I can manage it.
I was going to say, when I did not pack properly at all for this trip because I stepped outside and it was 80 degrees and I'm still very much in Denver winter mode.
Right, and here we are in February. Right.
February in Phoenix and it's 80 degrees. So I have to ask one last question because you are the expert. If you had to pick one trend right now in our space that's really just top of mind for you, what is it and why and what is happening?
This is something I'm going to surprise Joel with when we have a conversation later on today. But if you look at the fintech world right now, we have the companies that have most of the market share are fairly well established, and not in order to make adaptations, they're going to have to rewrite from the ground up. At the same time, we're in incredibly rapid innovation in the business. you could not possibly create a better scenario for great disruption. And I think we're going to see great disruption everywhere. I think the market share leaders, they're all going to have to either pony up to create a better mousetrap than what they have as a result of the competition, which is expensive and difficult, or they're going to live on the annuity of the people that are using their product now that maybe won't change for a while and so they can continue and get completely disrupted. And I think what we're going to see, the trend is we're going to see is almost literally complete disruption, a complete turnover at some point within the next 5 years.
Well, you say you don't have any raving fans here. I am certainly one of them, and I always appreciate your perspective. So thank you, Bob.
All right. Well, thank you. I enjoyed it.
For wealthmanagement.com, I'm Shannon Rossick.